That's it.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the BettorOff Podcast Super Bowl recap. Hell of a game last night, kind of the tale of two halves and an overtime, because the first half was completely different than the second half, and then like all good games needed free football in order to decide who was going to be Super Bowl champion. And Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs, for the first time in 20 years, back-to-back Super Bowl champions with no end in sight. This is officially a dynasty on the rise. They're not the Patriots yet, but they are definitely trending in that direction. And Pat Mahomes seems to have a good head on his shoulders and seems to reiterate just that when he has interviews and people ask him about the dynasty. He has a certain amount of grace and humility in what they've accomplished, while still acknowledging that the Chiefs are just that good, but that they're not done. And he hit that last night in his post-game interview before heading to Disney World early this morning. I'm sure that flight was treacherous for him. If he partied half as hard as either of the Kelce brothers, I'm sure he was feeling it this AM. But hey, hell of a game. I flipped back to the Niners last week. I couldn't pull the trigger on points for Patrick, despite all the sense that it made. And I'm paying for it now. So let's hear to the champion, to the victor go the spoils. CEO Alex Dubin, thanks for joining us as always. Winner Patrick Mahomes, rider, part of Chiefs Kingdom. Tell me how you're feeling this Victory Monday.
I feel like maybe people will stop giving Patrick Mahomes points now. 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, Patrick Mahomes was an underdog. I hope that people look back on that historically and are just blown by, like, just that their minds are blown. That anyone could give points to Patrick Mahomes 3 weeks in a row. It's insane. He is, you knew it. You absolutely, he makes all the right decisions. He, 4th and 1, he kept the ball, keep the ball in his hands. He made that run when there was nothing, even though he's not Josh Allen, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he got them 12 yards or whatever it was. Now the most prolific rushing quarterback in Super Bowl history. Obviously, Kadarius Toney gets his second ring. I think everyone's pretty psyched about that.
Healthy scratch. That's when they won the game. When they just admitted that he's a healthy scratch. He's not injured. We just don't want him here.
And then to insult to non-injury, they throw the Kadarius Toney route that won the Super Bowl last year to Mecole Hardman to win it this year.
I didn't pick up on that.
But look, it's, stop betting against Patrick Mahomes, America. Stop betting against Patrick Mahomes. Just anytime.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson.
Just stop. I don't think you're going to see it again next year. I don't think you're going to go into games where he's an underdog much, but like, stop. And not more importantly, but Kyle Shanahan, just, you knew it. And I don't like speaking ill about people. I don't like calling for people's jobs. It's, I know he tries hard, but like, you are an NFL head coach and your own team didn't know the playoff overtime rules, even though, by the way,
new this year,
they explained them right beforehand. And it wasn't like it's all convoluted. They said both teams get the ball unless the defense scores in the first possession. They said it.
Sure.
And then they asked, and all the Chiefs players were like, we've been going over that since preseason. And that's coaching. Knowing that your players are always prepared for any scenario, especially once you get into the Super Bowl. You don't have to talk about this stuff in training camp, but like into the Super Bowl, hey guys, by the way, I know that overtime probably isn't going to happen, but if it does, here's how it's different. Be ready for that. And then they asked Kyle Shanahan, they were like, what did you do? And he said they were playing for the third possession. That in case they kicked a field goal and the Chiefs kicked a field goal, that they would
or touchdown, whatever it was.
Now, for starters, the idea that it's going to get to a third possession is just flawed. Multiple Chiefs have come out and said that if San Francisco had scored a touchdown and converted the extra point, and then Kansas City has scored a touchdown, that Andy Reid was going for 2, was going to end it. And if that surprises you, then you're not paying attention. Because what you have done there is you have put the power in Andy Reid's hands. And even if it's a coin flip as to whether he goes for 2, you have taken the ball out of your own quarterback's hands and said, you know what? I'm going to put our Super Bowl on whether we can stop Patrick Mahomes from the 5-yard line. And that's just not where you want to be. It is another coaching blunder from an offensive genius. Great. But from someone who, as the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, had shown it, and now multiple times with the head coach in San Francisco has shown it, this is not a guy who you can have in charge of like vital game management decisions. And that is the biggest part of being a head coach. Kyle Shanahan needs to take a major, major lump for this loss.
Yeah, I mean, right, like it's one of those things where he's now 0-3 in Super Bowls as a head coach or coordinator. Each of these Super Bowls, he's had a 10-point lead, and that lead has been blown. But you got to give him credit for
that. Doesn't even bother me. Like what's a 10-point lead against Patrick Mahomes? I have no problem with that. He's not out there playing middle linebacker. And Tom Brady, I get that. 10 points is not that he's, and I don't think that San Francisco was sitting back in the prevent defense. I don't think that he got lazy. I think that he had the opportunity. And look, maybe they take the ball second and the Chiefs score first and they don't, and it's over and it doesn't matter. But all you can judge by is, did you make the best decision at that time with the information at hand? And we have now seen on multiple occasions in big games, Kyle Shanahan has made what is just clearly the wrong decision. It's not even like the Dan Campbell thing in Detroit where like he didn't kick the field goal, but analytics at least support it and say it was 1 or 2% better. I don't agree with it, but at least Dan Campbell can lean on analytics. There's no model that says that in an overtime where both teams possess the ball, that you take the ball first. It's just wrong.
Yeah, I think he had overthought it. I think it was a moment where he was trying to be too smart and outthink what was actually going on. I don't think that he actually believes Andy Reid, or maybe he didn't even think about Andy Reid potentially going for 2, which I want to come back to later.
Isn't that coaching? Like he should not have been making that decision in the moment. Okay. Either A, he decided beforehand, if this goes to overtime, we're taking the ball, in which case he either didn't understand the rules or had no problem putting the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hand to potentially win the Super Bowl, or he made the decision in the moment. And that's just a lack of preparation. If you're going into a Super Bowl and you don't have a plan for overtime, I mean,
yeah, I mean, I know you're anti Kyle Shanahan. I'll give him a little bit more grace. I don't think it was the right decision. As a baseball player, growing up, home team, getting the hammer. That's pretty much what that choice is. You want to know what you have to get when the game is on the line, and it just changes your mindset. So even like on the Chiefs, Chiefs, they're on their own 34. I think, and it was a 4th down. Now, if that's their ball and it's the first possession, they might not go for that on 4th down. They punt and they give it back to San Fran and trust their defense, right? Because if they don't get it, then it's a field goal. The only reason you go for that automatically in that situation that we had yesterday is because they had the ball second, because they knew that there is no tomorrow. You have to go for it. So I think it's a huge mindset change, and Kyle Shanahan definitely overthought it, assuming that Patrick Mahomes is going to answer and rebut whatever your offense is able to put up is just silly. And if that's the way you're going to go, then I think you have to play all out for the touchdown on that first drive and not settle for a field goal no matter what, and trust your defense. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in a tough situation. So I totally agree with that. Now, he did say, I understand his thinking. I don't think it's right. It's flawed logic, 1000%. He did say he spoke to the team. You're getting mixed reviews from that today. People saying that we didn't know the overtime rule, that there was no conversation with the team. My question is, what does that actually look like, right? You've got how many guys? 52 guys on a roster, 56 guys on a roster, something like that. So like you're not actually having a conversation with your team. You've got a couple guys around you, you got a couple coaches around you, maybe you got your quarterback, right? And you make your decision together.
That
Now,
also
when
that
they won the
also
coin toss,
suggests it also suggests that he didn't have a plan before the game. He didn't have an overtime plan.
yeah, but you need to. So, like, I understand the idea that his defense was just on the field for X amount of minutes and giving them a breather. I personally, again, I think it's flawed logic because I think that there's enough time between the coin toss and the commercial break for them to catch their breath and get back out there. They're grown men, they're professional football players. Let them get their O2, get back on the field, and then stop Patrick so you know what you need. Again, flawed logic. I don't know what a team meeting on the sideline actually looks like. That's my thing. The players saying that we didn't talk about it as a team. Like, you can't have a 52-man powwow to get together and be like, what do you think, guys? Should we do it? So he pulled his captains. He talked to a couple people. And then if you watch the reaction, I'm not sure who
it was Chris
who made the
Jones.
call. It was Chris Jones. No.
Who on the Chiefs sideline was like,
no, that's not what I'm talking about. On the coin flip, when the Niners won, it was immediate. We want ball.
Yeah.
We want ball. So, like, there was confidence there. They went in, kind of knew what they were doing. They weren't doubting Shanahan in the moment. That was a confident call.
Right,
and
but
it fell up short.
It was a confident call in the moment after they had to make a decision about it in the moments before. Andy Reid,
you got to play the game. You
no,
can't go in with 100% at that point.
If you can have 100% overtime plan, you can say, I know the Super Bowl overtime rules, and if we go into overtime in the Super Bowl, we are deferring. That's it. That is it. That is all. Unless Nick Bosa is in the tent and you think there's a reason that maybe 8 minutes later he'll come back, like your defense for some reason is no good but will be good in 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah. But like beyond that, it's Andy Reid who's, they knew there was no meeting in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes walked up there and knew exactly what was going to happen if he won that coin toss.
Right. Well, like I said, flawed logic. I think Kyle Shanahan loves
bad coaching.
He loves being smart. And sometimes not that I know much about that, but I think he thought himself into a corner. And, maybe if it works out in the way that he had aligned it, we're sitting here singing something different, but it didn't. So he comes off looking like an idiot.
But that's the thing. Even if it works, it's the wrong decision. It's the wrong decision. Something can work out and be wrong. Sure. And even if San Francisco scores a touchdown and then KC comes back and doesn't, and everyone's like, oh, wow, he was so brilliant to put, so ballsy to put it on Pat. No, it was the wrong decision, no matter how it worked out. And I don't know how many times, like, I get it. He's the wunderkind. He's got all this, but like, at what point do people start talking about Kyle Shanahan not being able to make the right decisions outside of play calling, time management, clock management, timeouts, all of that stuff? That's coaching. And why don't we hear about Kyle Shanahan just dropping the ball over and over and over again?
Well, I think you're hearing it a little bit today. They were on it. They were on his case a little bit today. Again, you're kind of not splitting hairs, but to his credit, to my point before, he's made it to the Super Bowl 3 times, twice as a head coach, once as a coordinator. Hasn't come out victorious, but credit where credit is due in order to get there. Now, he definitely needs to clean up his coaching act. And
let me ask you this. What's his name in Philly?
Sirianni.
Okay. After collapsing, but after bringing the team to where it was
Super Bowl last year.
Was immediately on the hot seat. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles at the helm. 2 years later, he's gone. If Jeffrey Lurie is the owner of San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan's gone.
Yeah, probably.
Now,
that doesn't make it right, though.
No. But what I'm saying is, like, no one talks about it because he's not in danger. But if he had an owner who was a little bit less patient, he would be in danger and we'd be talking about it more. We don't talk about it because he's not actually on the hot seat.
Right, right. And I honestly, I don't think that he deserves to be on the hot seat. He deserves to have the criticism come his way, and he needs to be self-aware enough to do whatever he has to do in the offseason going into next season to clean up his clock management or his strategy in these situations and keep his brain from thinking himself into a corner. But it was a great game. You can't. Yes, that call was bad on his part. We can all agree it was the wrong call. Flawed logic on his end. That game could have went either way. Either way.
Yep.
So I'm getting off of the coaches and onto the quarterback comparison. Patrick Mahomes, you can't leave life in the Chiefs' lungs. I mean, for three quarters, the Chiefs just did not have any momentum. The Niners looked like they were handling it, and at most it was a 10-point lead. I was sitting there with some friends saying, I feel like the momentum is 100% on San Francisco, but they're not stepping on their throats. They're not going for that kill shot. You need to be up 14 plus on Patrick Mahomes to even feel a little bit of a cushion, and they never had that. And it bit him in the ass in the end. They got the Patrick Mahomes treatment.
Can we bring that into Kyle? Can we bring that back to Kyle Shanahan? Can we bring that back to play calling and not going for the throat up 10-0?
I'd have to go back and see. Credit to the Chiefs defense. You know, you got pros playing against pros. I do think you got to find George Kittle more. They were lacking in that game plan. Again, Monday morning quarterbacking. Thought Christian McCaffrey was a beast. He had like 30 touches between the ground and the air, 80 rushing yards, 80 receiving yards. He might have been the first or the second person to do that. He's a beast.
80 rushing yards and 80 receiving yards is what keeping him in check looks like. That's how good he is. That like 160 all-purpose yards and a touchdown on a trick play, by the way. Like it's not like he broke it. It was a throwback.
He had to work for that though, because that was as far as trick plays
go,
that ball was in the air a while.
Credit to Steve Sarkisian again. I'm not Steve Sarkisian. Good Lord.
Yeah, Andy Reid. Who are you talking about?
Oh, the defense.
No, Niners. Shanahan.
No, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, the former Giants.
Oh, Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo. Credit to Spagnuolo because that line is what keeping Christian McCaffrey in check looks like. And they did. And Debo didn't do much, and Ayuk had a couple of good catches. To your point, Kittle was underutilized. Again, Kyle Shanahan, the genius, but I still think that Kittle is underutilized over the course of the season. George Kittle his numbers should be Travis Kelce numbers, but they're not.
Yeah. I mean, Kittle's, on the season was a better tight end than Travis Kelce. Now, Travis Kelce is now in the conversation as being the best tight end of all time. But George Kittle needed to be used. Even that fourth down to Kittle was huge. You just see that he's got the determination. He knows what the assignment is. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's a freak athlete from the shoulders down. So he's a perfect person to have the ball in there. That's who you want to have the ball in those situations. Underutilized. I think they'll kick themselves in the butt for not using that. How about Patrick Mahomes being the leading rusher on the Chiefs? 9 carries for 66 yards.
Yep.
Pacheco, 18 carries for 59. Mahomes he's a gamer, dude, and he knows what he has to do in order to win. I thought Purdy was going to have to use his legs a little bit more. And credit to the defense again. Maybe they kept him contained enough to where he didn't get a chance to. But he only got 3 carries, 12 yards. They relied on his arm. And Chiefs defense gets the W.
How about your boy Kyle Juszczyk with 31 receiving yards?
Hit the over 4.5 receiving yards on the second play of the game, I think it was. And I let out the biggest Juszczyk chant.
Mhm.
The people that I were with there, everyone looked at me like, "What the hell's going on?" And I just thought it was about to be an excellent day. At that point, if you had asked me, there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to eventually find the end zone. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But he got his over 4.5 receiving yards easy, and then he got over 1.5 receptions. I had money on both. So use
Can
check.
we
I was more of a use check fan than anything else last night.
can we also give proper attention and credit to Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock Purdy answered a lot of questions, unless you ask Shannon Sharp, who still thinks that the guy is trash for some reason. I think Brock Purdy, at the very least, has to be seen as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. I don't know that he's in the same category as Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, um,
He's not,
Lamar.
but you don't have to be. And he went into the Super Bowl and threw for 255, a touchdown, and didn't turn the ball over. He almost had a 90 quarterback rating. He completed 60% of his passes. He did
Yeah.
everything that you need to do when you have the weapons that he has to win that Super Bowl. And it sucks. It sucks that he had to go up against Patrick Mahomes. It sucks that his coach is maybe like borderline special needs when it comes to clock management and coin flips.
Mm-hmm.
But I, I think that at the very least, this talk that Brock Purdy is just a system quarterback, I don't think Brock Purdy is just a system quarterback. He's not Patrick Mahomes. You can't you can't run a system around him, maybe, but you can put him in any system and he will do more than just go through his progressions and check down
Yeah.
and not turn the ball over.
Yeah, the game's not too fast for him, which I
Nope.
think is what you see with some of the lower draft pick quarterbacks, or when you see someone who is
A
decent
higher
in
draft
college
pick
and can't
quarterback.
hack it in the NFL. It's because the game's moving too fast for him, and he doesn't shy away from the moments. He's not afraid to try and squeeze it into a tight spot. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Brock Purdy. I don't love the Niners in general as a Giants fan, but I would like to see Brock Purdy succeed. Um, I don't know. I don't. It'll be interesting to see if he ever gets back. Right? Like I heard
I
on the
mean,
radio yesterday in this different sport, but someone had asked Cal Ripken after he retired, Cal Ripken Jr., if you had a mulligan in life, what would you use it on? You go redo anything. And Ripken's answer was, my rookie year, we made it to the World Series, and I didn't fully soak it in. I went about preparation, and I thought to myself, oh, I'll be back. Not a big deal. And if he could go back, that was Cal Ripken Jr.'s life mulligan. He wanted to go back to his rookie year so that he could really soak in being in the World Series, because now he knows that he'll never get back.
that's
And
true, but
it would,
didn't Cal also win that World Series?
I don't know.
Anyway, I mean,
I have to
look,
look that up.
49ers are the very early favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. They're plus
I
5.
saw that. So speaking about Patrick Mahomes being an underdog, it didn't take more than a day for the team to be put underneath the team that they just beat. Jump on them now, dupes. Let's go. That's a hell of a
I'll
future.
do it. I'll put a C note on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl at plus 700.
Three-peat. When's the last time we had a three-peat?
Uh, Patriots didn't do 3, did they? So that would be the
I don't think
Steelers
so.
then. No, that would be the Cowboys.
Ugh. Early 90s.
Yeah, that's the Cowboys beating the Bills twice and then beating the Steelers, I think.
What's that?
Um,
93, 94, 95, or 92,
like
93, 94, something like that.
something like that. But it's been a while, and before that, I think would be the Steelers in the 70s. I'll put 100 on the Chiefs at plus 700. They're returning everybody. Rashee Rice is going to be another guy, and they have room under the cap, right? Like the Chiefs could go out and get. I mean, you assume that Cincinnati is going to tag T. Higgins, but like Cincinnati could go
Chris
out and get.
Jones is a free agent.
Yeah, I think they'll re-sign him. I mean, I
They'll
think that
probably tag him again.
right. Part of the reason that they traded Tyreek was to have the money to re-sign guys like Chris Jones.
Yeah.
But with Rashee Rice, an emerging number 1 receiver, and the 2025, free agent wide receiver class, imagine, imagine if they go out and if they trade for not DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, who's clearly not happy. Keenan Allen is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, like any of these guys, matched up with Rashee Rice, and you give him Patrick Mahomes,
yeah, they'll be good. I mean, the one thing working against Patrick, although it doesn't seem to have phased him much so far in his career, is that the AFC is just loaded with good quarterbacks. Now that can go either way. He can just continue to blank a bunch of elite quarterbacks who are now never going to win a Super Bowl because they happen to be playing in the same conference as Patrick Mahomes. But he's always going to have more hurdles to go through than, at least currently, than any of the NFC teams.
Jim Harbaugh and the LA Chargers.
You know what? That'll be an interesting development, though, because his relationship, or everything you heard about with Harbaugh, was about how much he loves Justin Herbert and how much of a talent he thinks he is. And so, without going on a complete side tangent, I can't wait to see him put that on the field and see if Justin Herbert can actually live up to some expectation with a top quality coach like that.
Jim Harbaugh wins. Jim Harbaugh won at Stanford. Jim Harbaugh won in San Francisco. Jim Harbaugh won in Michigan. Jim Harbaugh will win football games. And
he wins a Super Bowl. He wins a Super Bowl with the Chargers. Calling it now?
No, I'm not calling it, because the football's too fickle, right? You're only ever one play away from Justin Herbert blowing out his knee. Austin Eckler is a talent, but he's always hurt. The wide receiver is keen. Like there's talent there. There is no question talent there. Yeah. But stop betting against Patrick Mahomes, America. Let him disappoint you once. Let him lose one freaking time before you start betting against him and on Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. Please, for the love of God, do not pick the number 2 team in Los Angeles over Patrick Mahomes. Plus 700. Jump on it right meow. Right meow.
I can't do that. I would lose track by the end. Before football season even starts, have a future on it.
Bet against Patrick Mahomes 3 weeks in a row with.
I'm going to have to just continue to do it. I'm not jumping off the train now.
Yeah, that's always a good strategy.
Well, it was a good game. It was kind of a boring first half, but you knew it was going to be tight. And going into overtime, everyone learning the rules, talking about the clock. You don't even need the clock. It would have been interesting. I didn't think about the idea of Andy Reid going for 2 if it was a touchdown and then an answer by them. What are the odds? Like you think definitely? So let's say San Francisco scores that touchdown, kicks the extra point. Andy Reid, knowing that San Fran is going to get the ball back after, goes down, scores a touchdown, and then that's it. It's one play for the Super Bowl right there at the goal line.
I think Andy Reid and given the choice of having to defend against San Francisco, just getting into field goal position. And by the way, let's show some love for Jake Moody, who made 2 50+ yard field goals in the Super Bowl. Big time.
Got to shout out Jawan Jennings too. If anyone had a game, it was Jawan Jennings.
Only the second player in NFL history to throw for and catch a touchdown in Super Bowls. He didn't do both in the same one. Nick Foles did it both in the same Super Bowl. So
would have been MVP had they won.
If you are Andy Reid and your choice is, okay, now it's sudden death or now it's a touchdown, I can kick the extra point and go to sudden death and give San Francisco the ball where they only have to get inside of 60 to end this thing.
Right.
Or I can have one shot to give it to maybe the greatest quarterback of all time from 5 yards out. I think there is.
Not even 5 yards out. You're like 2.
Is that where the extra point is for? Where the 2 point?
If you're going for 2, you get it honestly, at the old location. It's like 2 yards.
If they give it to him on the 10, I'm still saying I want my quarterback. I will put I will put the next ring on him. And if he can't make it, I'll take that on me rather than being the guy who won't, who says, I want to stop them from kicking a field goal. I think Andy Reid 100% goes for 2 to put the ball in his quarterback's hands rather than saying, I need to stop San Francisco. Because you can have a very good defense. You can have a defensive stand and still give up a 58-yard field goal. And we know Moody can do it. So, yes, I think 100% Andy Reid goes for 2 to keep the destiny of that Super Bowl in his quarterback's hands.
It would have been great to see. It would have been a lot of fun to watch. That's for sure.
Great job, Kyle Shanahan.
It'll be interesting to see what the Niners do. Kyle's going to have a lot of, I think if they come out and they underachieve next year, or if they make it to the playoffs and he has another coaching blunder, we might start seeing him on the hot seat. There seems to be a lack of decent coaches out there. So you gotta, if he can get you to the Super Bowl, which he's proven, you gotta give him some credit for that. But minimum, all the credit in the world goes to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid drew up a hell of a play to get what's his face in the end zone. Hardman.
They remember from Hard Knocks with the New York Jets.
Right.
Mecole Hardman was going to be option 3 for Aaron Rodgers this year.
Right. They had the mentalist come in, right? And they chose.
Yeah. Or he was going to be option 2. It was going to be like Garrett Wilson, and they were hoping Mecole Hardman was going to be their number 2 guy. And then they had like Alan Lazard and like a whole bunch of other
guys. Mahomes is going to have to get through Aaron Rodgers next year if he wants to get in the Super Bowl.
Because they're both in the AFC, I guess. I mean,
I don't think Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are going to do jack shit. I just like
I do.
You think that they'll be with all the teams in the AFC? You believe that the Jets, just with the addition of Aaron Rodgers, all of a sudden turns them into a contender?
I think that the AFC East is a beast next year. I think the Dolphins are shit, but like they're still going to be good in the regular season. The Bills are going to be the Bills. But
Buffalo Bills are good.
Look at the
Pats are going to draft. Pat's drafting a quarterback or a wideout. Pat's got to draft a quarterback.
Look at the talent on that team. Look at Garrett Wilson. Okay. Look at Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall. Good, solid offensive line, suffocating defensive line, skill position players. That team, with the addition of Aaron Rodgers, is a legit contender. Yes.
So you think the Jets are going to win the AFC East next year?
I think the AFC East is going to be, I think they're going to beat the crap out of each other. I think you're going to see a lot of splitting. I don't think you're going to see a team like Miami run away with it next year. I think you might end up seeing, like a 10 or 11 win team win the AFC East, not because those teams aren't good, but because they're all going to beat up on each other.
Yeah, we'll see.
I would not want to bet on the winner of the AFC East. But what I might do is between the Jets, I think it's going to be the Jets or the Bills. Between those two, I think I'd probably just take whoever has the longer odds, because I don't think Miami's for real.
For someone who's so strong about the coach of the team, Robert Saleh had looked lost this whole year once Aaron Rodgers went down, and he was a fanboy during Hard Knocks the whole time. Like, so if you don't have faith in Kyle Shanahan, I don't know how you have faith in Robert Saleh.
Come on. At what time? Kyle Shanahan has dropped the ball multiple times.
In big games that he was able to get his team to. Just because Saleh can't get his team there doesn't mean that he doesn't.
But you have to have players. Yes, Robert Saleh looked lost.
He lost one player.
He lost the only player that matters.
Then how could you feel so strong about the Jets? It's one player.
Right, but I am assuming that he's healthy. If he's not healthy, I don't think they're any good. I don't, I
named a whole bunch of people on the Jets and said they were good.
Yes, but I don't think they can look. I don't think the Chiefs are any good without Mahomes. So yes, I am making these picks. I don't think the Bills are any good without Josh Allen. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I think that the Jets are a contender. And I don't think that we have seen enough from Robert Saleh with a great quarterback. Let's see him coach with that quarterback. Not trying to I think we need to give him the benefit of the doubt because he hasn't had the weapons. Kyle Shanahan has had the weapons. Andy Reid has had the weapons. Lord knows that Mike McDaniel in Miami has had the weapons. Let's see what Robert Saleh does with weapons. I have no reason to believe that he has trouble with clock management or coin flips.
I don't know, man. You just named a bunch of guys. He's got talent. They've got talent.
Yes,
No, he doesn't have a great quarterback, but
none of
you're
it
in the AFC. You got great quarterbacks around you.
But none of it matters without a good quarterback. Unless you are the super rare case, right? The 2000 Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer, who had arguably the best defense in NFL history, 1985 Bears, 2000 Ravens, right there. Outside of that, when a team wins without a star quarterback, it's a shock, right? The Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, but Carson Wentz was the quarterback for 14 weeks that season and was going to be the MVP of the league before he blew out his ACL. We don't have to talk about Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. I mean, this is what it takes to win a Super Bowl unless you have some insane situation. Let's give Robert Saleh the chance to have a Pro Bowl quarterback throwing to all of those weapons. And then if he shits the bed, okay. But he has not been given a fair shake yet. Let's see him coach up Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to
coach up Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to coach him up in coaching. That's what's going to happen.
Great. But you know what? Knowing to stay out of the way of your asshole generational talent quarterback,
that's good coaching.
Okay, so talk to me about Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in the history of football, who without Tom Brady could not win shit. What
do you want me to say?
My point is expectations of coaches. I mean, look, it's expectations of coaches to win without a star quarterback in today's NFL. It's stupid that you're just cycling through coaches when you don't have a number one QB, as if having a new coach in there is going to make up for the fact that your team, that Daniel Jones is your starter. That's the coaching, their fault that you can't
play with your players. That's all.
With Zach Wilson. No, give Robert Saleh a year with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's fair the way that coaches get cycled through when they don't have a QB1. If you have a QB1 and nobody has patience for you, then fine. But if you're running, Jameis Winston out there, of course you're not going to win the damn Super Bowl. Give the man a fighting chance. Aaron Rodgers gives him a fighting chance.
We'll have to have a dinner bet. I'm saying Jets are at highest third next year in the AFC East.
How many wins? With a healthy...
I got to actually look through, but I'm going to say third in the NFC East. So if they finish first or second, I owe you dinner. And if they finish third or fourth, you owe me dinner.
Okay, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
Until what week?
With a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
For the entire season?
What is it? They play 17 games. He has to start at least 14 games.
Sure. I'll give you that bet. Fine with me.
Done.
Another season of rooting against the Jets.
I mean, I'm a Giants fan too, but they've got a squad over there. We don't have a freaking squad. And
I'm not worried about the Giants. Giants suck.
Yeah, but you know what? Last year, when the Giants won, 7 close games, and what's his name? Why am I forgetting our coach's name?
Daboll.
Oh, it was Brian Daboll. He's exactly what we need. He's one of us. He's New York. He wears shorts and cracks beers, and he's 40 pounds overweight. He's the Giants, right? And then it turns out that we suck. And we're one more bad season away from him being out the door the same way the Jets did Eric Mangini. 10 wins.
See, but you're talking out of both sides of your mouth now, because Daniel Jones was down for the majority of this year too.
No,
So
no,
you
oh, no,
can't
no.
hang the season on
Saying,
Dayball if he
I'm
doesn't
not
have his number
saying,
one. He didn't even have
I'm
his
not,
number two.
I'm not saying Dayball deserves to go. He doesn't. But if we have another bad year, he will. And I think that it will be a perfect example of, if you win, oh, the coach is a genius. But if you lose, like, it's not that he was a genius. It's that the Giants won 7 games that were decided by under 4 points. Like, that's not sustainable. But if you're going to run him out on a rail, like, that's bullshit, because the man, didn't have Daniel Jones this year. I don't think Daniel Jones is any good next year. But like, here we go again. Is it fair to judge Brian Daboll as a guy who should be winning football games in a division that starts Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts? Like, say what you want about them in the playoffs, but both of those guys are win machines in the regular season, and Brian Daboll stuck with Daniel Jones. Thank you, Dave.
Commander's about to have a quarterback too. Commander's going to draft a quarterback this draft. They'll have a top 3 guy.
I mean, they'll have a top 3 pick. Who knows how he'll perform? But like, I almost feel like you need, in order to give Brian Daboll a fair shake, you almost need to get away from the Dave Gettleman era. Get away from Daniel Jones, get to whoever the next quarterback is. And I look, personally, Justin Fields should be the next quarterback of your New York Football Giants. The man has shown that he can win football games. But like, you're going to have to pay him. Who knows what you're going to have to pay him, right? It's his second contract. If they can go and get someone lower down and not do a Dave Gettleman and trade up to get a quarterback at a Duke, like we've seen this. Patrick Mahomes didn't go 1 overall. Justin Herbert didn't go 1 overall. Drew Brees didn't go. Like, you don't need a top 3 pick to get a great quarterback. And you sure as hell.
But the odds are drastically in your favor if you do.
I don't know that that's true.
I don't know. I don't remember the stat off the top of my head from last week, but taking a quarterback in the first round.
Oh, the first round. Super fantastic. But you can get him at 10, you can get him at 12, you can get him at 28, you can get Aaron Rodgers down there. You can get a number of very good quarterbacks, even 4th and 5th or 6th, where you don't have to trade up and mortgage your future. Houston didn't have to give crap up to get CJ Stroud. Carolina had to give up the world to get what's his name out of Alabama, who I don't think has gotten a fair shake because he has no weapons and no protection. But the point is, you can get CJ Stroud later. You can go and get Justin Herbert later, Aaron Rodgers later. You can get these guys, Patrick Mahomes later. You don't have to mortgage your franchise on someone who you think looks like a great quarterback because Dave Gettleman doesn't know football. Build the rest of the team. Don't run Brian Daboll out of New York after another shitty season next year. It's not fair. He doesn't have a quarterback.
Okay. I mean, I like Daboll, so I don't want him going anywhere. I certainly don't want to trade him for Belichick, just so Belichick can get his record. But I'm out on Daniel Jones. I'm in on us. I mean, I really wish that we had a top 3 pick this year so we can pick one of the top 3 Qs on the board. Everyone's got us taking a wide out, it looks like. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the combine, excited for the draft. Bummed that football season's over, bummed that it wasn't the Niners holding up the trophy at the end. Dynasties are fun, but I love little wrinkles. And Brock Purdy was a little wrinkle this year, and it was made clear by all the analysts that didn't believe in him. And I would have loved to have seen him come out on top, because I know that Patrick's going to get there again. Mahomes will be there again. Kelsey will be there again. Andy Reid's going to keep leading this team. I don't know if Purdy does get there. It would have been sweet to seen him really solidify and silence all the haters, which was made very clear today that he still hasn't done, that he's still got tons of criticism out there. And I hope he comes out next year with a chip on his shoulder. So yeah, that's how I feel. It was a good game. It was an excellent Super Bowl 58. It seems like Vegas knocked it out of the park. That thing with that city was, not that it's not a party all the time, but it just had a different energy. It felt like I could feel it through the TV, through all the social media accounts. Anyone was there this week, and seemed like they were having a good time. Even Liv got in the mix with the golf tour being there this weekend, and they had a crowd. I watched a little bit of that on the CW on Saturday, and I can't wait to see it get back there. Next time Las Vegas has it, like I said, Better Off. We've got to try and get out there for some boots on the ground, because that's going to be a hell of a weekend.
New Orleans next year, the Caesars Superdome.
Yeah, New Orleans is fun. Vegas is different. Vegas, there's no place like Vegas. There's no place like Vegas.
Nope.
Great. Well,
Green did a hell of a job. And there's not a street named after him, not a statue.
Who?
Mo Green.
Mo Green. Of course, Mo Green, founder of
the business we have chosen, Tommy.
Did he get killed in Godfather?
Did he get killed in Godfather? He got shot through the. Did Mo Green get killed in? All right, Better Off viewers, let's get the hate mail in here. Everyone tell Tommy how Mo Green died, and then tell us what Hyman Roth thought about. I'm upset now.
Oh, good, because you've been really even-keeled this entire episode so far. Put a bow on the football season. It is done. We are looking forward to next year. Going to be a hell of a season again, man. Lots of talent, lots of excitement coming up with this draft. Caleb Williams coming off the board. Will he actually be good? I'm out on Caleb Williams. I don't believe he's going to be great.
Are you a Drake May guy?
No. I don't know enough about Drake May.
North Carolina quarterback.
I just believe that if Caleb Williams was that guy and as good as everyone makes him out to be, USC would have done better this year. And every time I watch USC, he's on the sidelines, got the towel over his head, crying in his mommy's arms.
Yeah,
he's not about it. Not my kind of guy. Maybe he does. I'm sure he's got a bunch of intangibles, but give me Brock Purdy over him any day of the week.
He's done it, and I'm rooting for Brock. How can you not root for Brock? But stop giving points to Patrick.
Yeah. I don't think bookmakers will make that mistake again. I really don't. But that's it. Football season's a wrap. We are on to basketball, and baseball's around the corner. Dubes, have you been watching any NBA, any college, any catchers and pitchers reporting news? What do you got?
I got UVA on the bubble getting into the tournament and causing some trouble with the longest home winning streak in the country. I've got the Knicks getting Bojan Bogdanovic. I'm excited to watch him shoot threes. I don't think the Knicks are any kind of I don't think the Knicks are in any danger of actually winning anything.
No, but they're good, man. I mean, yeah. I can't see them beating Boston, but I would give them a fair shake against anyone else.
Maybe. I mean, look, the East, over the course of a 5 or 7 game set, I think that Milwaukee just outclasses the Knicks in the, I think they do.
All right. I mean, if that's it, I mean, the Knicks, when's the last time that we're naming the Knicks in the top 3 in the East?
They're there, and Embiid, if he's playing, makes the Sixers nasty, but who knows what's going on with him. I don't think the Heat have I don't think they have the gas.
I agree.
But it's fun to watch the Knicks be good. It's been a very long time. I like the Bogdanovic addition.
This was a good trade. They made out on this trade. They're a better team.
They did it without giving up first rounders, a very un-Knicks thing to do.
Right.
But
I mean, if the Knicks become a destination, since the NBA very much is player driven, like they're the ones calling the shots. If we can get the Garden and New York back to being like a destination that players want to come, there's nothing. I mean, we've been here for Giants Super Bowls. I've been here for Yankees World Series, and there's no buzz in this city like when the Rangers are kicking ass and when the Knicks are kicking ass. The two Garden teams get this city on fire, and I would love to see the Knicks make a run. That would be
The Rangers are legit. Even
I
with
haven't watched any hockey this year, man. I'm so out on hockey right now. I'm clueless.
The Rangers are legit, but their best goalie is probably Jonathan Quick, and that's the weird part.
It's a good name for a goalie.
It is a good name for a goalie.
All right, I've got to do a little bit of research. We're going to come back. The next episode, we're all on ball. We're all on basketball. We're talking NBA, NCAA. March Madness is around the corner, second half of the NBA season. Was that All-Star game this weekend? NBA All-Star game this weekend?
This weekend, I think. My computer is going to die, so you should end this.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. That's a wrap on this year's football season. We'll be back with some basketball news. Tommy Props hits in all sports. And I'll be better in basketball because Patrick Mahomes doesn't play in the NBA or in college.
Truth.
All right, y'all. Have a damn good time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.